Hello, and welcome to the first episode of Speak the Game. I know you gentlemen are as excited as I am. Yeah, come on. This is a podcast where we're going to give an insight into current events of football. There's been quite a lot of them, a lot of drama for Man United, as always. The history and everything in between. Now, we have fans from various backgrounds. You got Man U fans, Arsenal fans. As you can imagine, delusion tends to follow them, so I might there'll be a lot of controversial opinions. Now, we got Josh and Amar. Now, believe it or not, Man U have won 7 league titles since 2000. It's not as bad a record as you'd think, seeing as they're trash, but it's all right. Rangers have also won 7 league titles since 2000.
Arsenal.
Yeah, well...
This just shows how the mighty have fallen. Surely, you know what I mean?
Well, look, I'm sure you've challenged
Be
for
like
at least
history
7,
takers.
right?
Cool.
Listen, I'm sure you've challenged for at
There we
least
go.
7.
1960.
But don't worry,
Nonsense.
when they finished second, they weren't trying to challenge anyway, so they didn't bottle it. It's fine.
Then a rebuild, right?
You finished second in 2-horse race, mate. I'll be quiet. What's your spot?
Rangers.
Okay.
I'm not just a human.
Let's
Listen, right, most
Gamba,
successful team in the
Gamba.
world. I don't need to be stressed. Cool. So obviously today we're going to be covering a lot of kind of overrated and underrated players and managers who we think have been affected by that. But obviously we're going to have to deal with blue cards first. I'm sure you guys have seen it in the news. It's been everywhere. Managers have been commenting on it. Ange likes to wind about most things, especially if he's lost. But nonetheless, so have you guys seen it? Did you see what blue cards? Do you know what that is?
I'm here for it.
You're here
I'm
for it?
here for it.
Well,
I'm here
that's
for
very
it.
strong early on.
I'm here for it.
Well, before we start, can you just give a brief overview? Because I know it's obviously like a sin bin rule. Is it 10 minutes it was?
Yeah,
Because
so-
I read it. Go on.
Blue cards is really, really simple. It is an alternative to yellow cards that referees are going to have for dissent or kind of cynical fouls. So if a player's going through and someone takes them out, like a professional foul is what I would call it. Now, the rules right now are 2 yellows equals a red. That's it. Pretty straightforward. The new rules is kind of a bit more cuddled. So 2 blues, so you can be off for 10 minutes, will equal a red.
2 blues equals a red.
Equals a red.
Okay.
A yellow and a blue equals a red. So a blue is just another yellow, but will be specific to 2 types of fouls,
Okay.
which is dissent or obviously cynical fouls. And that's when they'll be removed for 10 minutes. I see your face and I'm feeling like you're changing your view from I'm here for it.
Just that part.
The whole purpose, just to be clear on what the International Football Association is saying, its whole reason for it is designed to improve player participation in terms of their behaviour in games. That's the focus, that's the reason.
Is there a correlation with VAR? So can a blue card be given after going to VAR?
I don't know. The rules aren't clear on that yet as to exactly how it's going to be implemented. They've not done the trial yet. Does the 10 minutes start as soon as they're given the blue card? Do they have to be off the pitch for the 10 minutes start? None of these things have really been...
I'm sure if we translate the blue card to rugby, I think their rules are as soon as the sin bin has started, in the sense of when the player's left the pitch, that's normally when the timer starts. So I'd imagine if it's going to be the same transferable rule as rugby, it'll be the same thing.
Yeah, 100%. Well, the general view hasn't been that popular. Ange the other day was saying that one team bound to 10 men is going to kill the game.
No.
He's saying that being introduced will kill our sport. Now, obviously, he is a bit dramatic on things, but
Very dramatic.
do we think
our
that's
game.
going to be an issue?
I mean, there is, sorry.
I'll let you go.
There is positives and negatives. Overall, I'm not for it. Only reason being is every single time we introduce something to the game like VAR or even what classifies as handball or not handball with the new rules, it just overcomplicates the game. Referees already get so much stick. So now, as much as I'm kind of in favor of it in terms of some fouls or some behavior in the game, it's like, okay, that's a little bit over a yellow, not quite a red. So having a blue system would kind of help with that in terms of like, okay, they can go off and then they come back. But in terms of the controversy that would bring in, why is it this week that was given as a blue, but that hasn't been given as blue as a dissent? It's just going to cause people to be way more upset than we need in the game.
Is that not just standard refereeing? Would they not normally cause that sort of controversy anyway?
It won't complicate the game, personally, from what you're saying, because if you're looking at, let's say, the top 5 leagues, the only league that has a problem with VAR is the Premier League. Everywhere else seems to do it perfectly. It's the people that are running it. So I'm here for the blue cards. One, it'll stop Bruno Fernandes. Like, yeah.
It's always why you never shake your head when he does.
Maybe Casemiro. I mean, he got a yellow card straight away.
Casemiro would never be on the
Yeah,
pitch.
but
I shouldn't be laughing as you know. It's true.
It's funny, but it's true.
Casemiro here for a 10-minute warm-up, back off.
So if you two were to agree with it, would there be anything that would potentially make you look at it from another angle, in the sense of, is there any like, oh, I'm not too sure if it would affect this or
I
something
think
else?
there's two different things. You know, the managers that are kicking off about it, saying that it's going to disrupt the game, like Tottenham have had 57 yellow cards so far in the season. They're the 7th highest, and he's kicking off about
57 and the 7th.
57.
Bro, it's
But
crazy.
it's
Wait,
ridiculous.
who's first then?
Well,
Probably Chelsea.
the highest was Chelsea on 73.
That's mental.
Well, to be fair, in the first 16 weeks of this season, there's
Yeah.
been 80 cautions compared to 24 last season. Like the amount of yellow cards that are coming out, but that's because they're trying to focus down on dissent. Now, obviously, that's not working because Chelsea clearly do not give a shit. They're on 73 yellow cards.
But don't you think that because of the inconsistency of the current system with the yellows and reds, adding another card into the mix will make it even more of a circus, if you want to call it?
I think from a behavioural standpoint, players are not respecting it. It makes no difference to them. They're still Bruno Fernandes is still moaning as he always has. It makes no difference to the fact they're not even taking into consideration how many times does Casemiro get booked. See his behaviour today when he was on a yellow card, which arguably he tripped up the player. It was a yellow. He's gone like this for about 5 minutes. Like that to me is the exact behaviour that's the issue, and that's what it's trying to address.
So if you look at the Ange topic or the Ange debate or the Ange kind of speech he said about the blue cards, if you were to apply that into real life, so let's say if it's game week, 37, Luton are playing against Sheffield United, Luton have just lost their main striker to a blue card, they're currently drawing the game, it's the 75th minute, and you're trying to tell me that Luton are going to play as they was when they had a full team on the pitch? If that makes sense.
Yeah, but it depends. Like, with all respect to the teams, those teams are going to be at the bottom, right? So they'll be playing for survival. Like, if I don't care if you're down to 10 men, because everyone's saying, "Oh, the one team's going to park the bus," but look how many games this season we've had where there's been a red card in the first half and they're still attacking, just because the blue cards. Like, end of the day, you still got to have to play to win. Aim and Davis to win the game, 3 points, right? So surely okay, cool. We're down to 10 men. We still need to attack. Like,
I think with that, like if you look at the teams that have got the lowest yellow cards, Arsenal are first on 37.
lowest.
Lowest. You've got the best.
Typically, teams who
not
keep
only-
the ball the most.
Because my
I
that's
don't think
like,
That's the
yeah.
thing, like not only has Arsenal got the best defensive record in the league, right? They
Put
have
some
also got the
respect.
best behaviour as well. They've
Say
got the
again?
lowest
No,
amount of
say
yellow
again.
cards. You are the best defensive record in the league. that doesn't win you titles, big man. Right? Just saying you're still third. Now,
Huh?
Do you know, sorry, saying that, I've just realised one of the things as well that will happen is this blue card system will actually disproportionately affect the lower
teams that have
down-
less of the ball,
Yeah, yeah.
are more likely to compete.
and that's usually the teams at the bottom, and it's like they're already having a hard time with trying to stay up and making this league look competitive. So imagine if now they're the ones who are gonna be committing the fouls for dissent more. So if then they're gonna be punished by having this blue card system where their players get sent off for 10 minutes, that's gonna be harder for them to actually stay in the league. So are we then making the league less competitive because this card system is actually going to disproportionately affect them?
First of all, you're just assuming that it's going to be what you said about it's going to be harder for them.
Yeah.
But then look at the big boys. Like, look what happened when Rodri was out for City for 3 games. What happened to City? They didn't win a game in 3 games.
I'm sure they lost all of them.
Exactly. So it's either way.
But then you say that City have the highest, as we just said, 73 yellow cards. They're the ones that would have players out the most.
Who has the most? Is it
City, Chelsea have 73 yellow
Yeah,
cards.
but look how Chelsea
They would
are
be- they're
right now at the
suffering this
bottom,
season,
bottom,
right?
bottom half.
yeah, but do we class them as a bottom team? Like they're playing like one right now.
Yeah.
But you don't spend
Yeah,
a
actually
billion
validate
to
my
be a
point.
bottom team. And then the alternative, if it's a cynical foul, the alternative is multiple yellows. So suspensions don't come with blue cards.
Has there been any talk about what leagues they're going to use it in? In the sense of, is it just the bottom leagues of England, or is it going to be in Europe? Or
The trial is in lower teams. There's talks about it being in the FA Cup next season. So there's talks of it being in that, but it won't be allowed in the league.
Lower teams, like lower leagues.
It'll be in lower leagues. It'll be in
Everyone's
FA
getting sent
Cups.
off. Everyone's getting sent off.
not like your Sunday league.
Have you not seen
But
League
they're
Two
trying
recently?
to-
Even League 2's nuts.
But you see the video, the team's running after the ref trying to kick him.
Why is your keeper in my box in the 12th minute of the game?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess let's just make a vote here. Do we think blue cards are going to work? Erie, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Josh,
Absolutely not.
100% against
No,
it. Not a
no,
chance.
absolutely not.
Emma.
I'm going to give a complicated answer. It depends on what you mean by work.
Oh my god.
I know.
You just never just yes or no, are you?
So I say, would it work in terms of like maybe helping get rid of like some of the bad behavior in the sport? Yeah, probably.
I feel like you'd be in a wedding going, oh, do you want to get married? Maybe.
I do,
Also-
but
But I think like, but would it work in terms of like improving the game overall? Because it might get rid of this one aspect, but then introduce all these other different aspects in terms of what we spoke about, in terms of like affecting the lower league teams, in terms of the fact that it's going to be controversial in terms of like, oh, is it one week this was given as a blue card, on next week a player does a similar thing and it's not given as a blue card. So I think it'll work in terms of like what it wants to achieve, but then it'll do so much more damage on another end in terms of like introducing other bad things.
literally
So
explain
that's
the VAR.
Huh?
I literally explained the VAR.
See, the thing
Yeah, and would you say VAR has worked?
I'd say
VAR
VAR has worked.
Yeah,
The VAR
I would
has
say
worked.
VAR has
It's just the people that we have.
I think it's worked for certain things.
I think it's
Hey,
the most.
It looks better in the European leagues. I've watched a few games in Europe. and it's
AFCON
more
has been
consistent.
spot on. Right?
That's the thing. If it's implemented properly, it works great.
It's been spot on.
You get this same shade with everything new that comes in. VAR, it was like, it's going to ruin the game. It's going to slow everything down. It's going to be terrible. It hasn't.
It can't
Football's
cheat.
more popular than it's ever been. Secondly, you actually get more controversy and conversation and stuff to talk about because of VAR.
And then there's the goal line technology as well.
Goal line
and then
technology.
and they just introduced recently an offside thing, like a virtual AI offside. I'm sure I've seen it in like Champions League.
That's
All
the
these
Champions
things
League,
that
yeah.
are supposed to ruin football, but actually advance them. And then they're talking about the fact that they're making more additional time in games, so players are playing for like 7-8 minutes rather than 2 or 3, which is what they should do because it's their job to
Yeah.
play football. And they're complaining about it, saying it's going to ruin the game. It hasn't. This season's gone exactly as well as every other season has. There's now more yellow cards because players are committing dissent. Yet it's not broke down the system. Everything hasn't collapsed. The world keeps going.
Fun fact as well, you mentioned that, saying as the season's been better. When like last week, when we were looking at bets, it was like this weekend's been like the most goals in the Premier League.
Yeah, I think it was 45
Like 40,
plus
something
goals.
Like 2 days.
So it's more attacking, faster paced, and Ange's.
Yeah, but is that to do with VAR?
I wouldn't say that impacts VAR. I wouldn't say VAR is
no.
the reason of the goals, but the game is getting better more and more. And all these little things are addressing the issues that have been in the game for a very long time.
Yeah.
And the people who don't want it are your pundits whose maybe his insight won't be as relevant because how
Old
can
pundits.
Alan Shearer talk about something if a blue card's happened? He's never experienced that. So he has no idea how that impacts a team because he's not been there. So will it impact them more? Managers will talk about it. It's interesting. The managers are kicking off have the worst disciplinary records of any team. They're the ones kicking off about it. But they're also probably the ones that were kicking off about VAR as well. You know what I mean? Like, I get managers have a right to complain about VAR because there are wrong decisions. I'm sure we all agree with that. But I think on a whole, there's always going to be bite back and it never collapses.
Anyway, we're not at your answer.
Yeah.
I'm not finished. And another thing. Okay, cool. So we're all.
You're for it, right?
I'm for it. Yeah, 100%.
Right, just to play devil's advocate here, yeah. I'm going to say no as well.
What do you mean?
was
No,
what
you've
you-
already answered.
You've already answered.
How about number
Just to play
1 to
devil's advocate.
No, I'm for it. But then if I was to flip the other side,
not.
if I was to flip the other side, right? When you said about the big teams and low teams, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of
Pep's a genius, right? So imagine it's like 80th minute, right? No, 70th minute, sorry.
Yeah.
It's 0-0 against City at home at the Etihad, right?
Yeah.
You're Burnley or Sheffield or Luton or Man United, someone small. You've been
skip over
defending, City have not broken through. You're like, guys, we're going to get the point here, And then Pep just goes, De Bruyne, just take a little 10-minute break. And then last 10 minutes, come on, boom. That's the only thing I don't like about it. Like, managers will start using this tactics like, if you get the blue card, rest for a bit. I don't have to waste a sub.
Oh my god.
In what?
Terrible.
In
What?
In what world would you
That
say a
was-
manager?
that was
Horrendous.
the worst thing
So
I've
like,
ever
yeah,
heard.
I've
Going down to 10
10
men
men.
for 10 minutes.
If you're Man City,
Just get a
So
star player.
if you're Man City,
Yeah.
if you're Man City, say you use all your subs, right? Or you already, you use all your subs.
He has to get the tempo of the game again.
Huh?
He comes out the tempo of the game to then go back in to then. try and
Did
get
City
the
not
tempo.
win games without De Bruyne? Yes or no?
Yeah,
But
but
not
with
as many.
11 men.
Yeah.
Yeah, they lost more without Rodri than they did with De Bruyne.
Yeah, but they had 11 men.
Yeah, they still had a full...
No, but when they got the yellow, when they got the like for example, Rodri got sent off. Was it Wolsey got sent off? And one of the games he got sent off in, they were down to 10 men.
Forest for choking someone or something.
Wait,
what I'm saying is right. Okay, for example, let's say two even teams, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you've used all your subs. And you're like, crap. What I do? This is my star play. Like, crap. What I do? Think about it this way. You're like, I don't know, like Haaland or something. Someone like that's handful.
Yeah.
Just a little 10-minute break, comes back on finishes the game. That's more dangerous than they play the full game.
My most attacking player for 10 minutes to give the defenders a break from him.
No, he's saying that to give Haaland a break.
He's saying he'll give Haaland a break.
I've used my subs.
Yeah, no, we get all of that. We get all of that, right? But the crazy part about this is you're saying that a manager would think it's better to have their best player come off for 10 minutes.
What team did I use?
I know.
What team did I use?
Man City.
Okay, so you're talking as if I'm talking about like...
but even Man City, right? Even Man City, I'm sorry. Even them going down to 10 men just to give their star player a rest. That's worse.
In the 70th minute, you come in on... I'd rather him play the full game than him come off.
And you're drawn to...
It's like basketball with LeBron James. Like, LeBron James.
Bring on someone else.
Yeah, but LeBron James...
On this one, you won't bring on someone else.
But then, like, say you're tying the game.
Yeah.
Say you're tying the game. Does LeBron close the game, yes or no?
What, if you're tying the game?
If you're tying the game, do you bring on LeBron, yes or no?
Yeah.
Exactly. So LeBron's had break. LeBron's one of the best. LeBron's the best.
That's not correct actually, because obviously you have enough.
With this, Josh, if you were Ten Hag, right? Your team's you're 2-1 up.
Why are we using a shit team? Let's use.
That's Arsenal out then, huh?
Yeah.
Right. Let's say that you're Erik Ten Hag. You're 2-1 up. Let's say you're winning. Right? Are you going to take one of your star players off to rest them for 10 minutes?
You're changing.
All right, let's say you want them to be losing.
It's drawing.
Right, you want them to be drawn. Okay, so you're drawing. You need a result. You're drawing.
I see it that way.
You're taking your key player out for 10 minutes.
In what world am I going to encourage discipline to?
One key player.
Okay, but my key players are also professional athletes who should always be able to last 90 minutes plus. I'm going to take them out of the equation to then create more space for the opposition, for them to overload left, right, in the middle.
Versus a Burnley.
This
is not saying this.
Yeah, but also, if City are drawing against Burnley, that is a bad result for City. You're not taking your key player out.
Yeah, but from Burnley's perspective, you're like, okay, cool, this is our chance. Oh, wait, cool.
Well, great.
But
now
De Bruyne's fully charged up. He's back on. Boom. Look what happened when De Bruyne came on against Huddersfield in the last 15 minutes. City were 2-0 up?
Charged up
and then he scored what? 3 goals in what? They scored 3 goals and he did what? 1 assist in 15 minutes.
That was against Huddersfield, wasn't it?
Huddersfield.
Yeah.
When he came on against Newcastle, I mean, what? A goal and an assist in what? 10 minutes?
Yeah, but there's a difference between coming off fresh and being a break for 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
You coming off
60?
That is a tactical way to play, generally. You do it in basketball, you do it in hockey, you do it in other sports.
Yeah, but in those sports, you're allowed to bring on someone else, so it's even numbers.
What players got attacked though? You can't.
I thought we almost made it through that whole thing without someone saying something stupid, and then you opened your mouth and
it's only stupid because
and then I realized
these guys don't understand.
You know what? That was too hopeful.
It's okay to say you don't
understand.
Crazy.
We'll move on to the next.
You'll get this a lot.
Anyway, we can just go down to 9
Man
minutes.
City wiping Celtics ball from the bottom.
You know what? The whole team get 10 minutes break. Yeah. All of you get blues. Yeah. Imagine the whole squad's free.
I used to on
another example. Before we start joking, another example. Liverpool and Tottenham. Arguably, Liverpool with what? When they had the 2 reds by accident.
Yeah.
They played so much better with 9 men. Imagine that game when they played better with 9 men. You bring on Salah. Like, okay, say you got the 9 men. Salah's gone. That's 8. No, sorry. Yeah, Salah's gone. That's 8. And the last 10 minutes, you bring on Salah. Like, he's had a rest and he's finishing the final 10.
9 men, and you're encouraging your team to 8.
That's what I'm saying. They played better. Like, it depends what team it is. Some teams play better with less people.
Okay.
Football Association. Let's just scrap this blue card stuff.
Honestly, I'm lost.
Well, we'll move on from that one.
Right. Well, on that one.
Basically, he's lost because he stopped. His research that he did hasn't been thorough. So now he's like, oh crap, where do I go from here?
Should we look at your notes? Like, listen,
we can look at my notes. Let's go. We'll look at my notes. You still got time.
That is in the dome.
Obviously, let's move on. We're going to talk about overrated.
His notes were copy of my phone, basically, just to let you know.
Feeding over. Every time Erik goes to say a fact, I say it just before him. Like, why? I already covered that. Right. Anyway, so we're going to start on managers. Right. Obviously, there's a lot of successful managers. Some you might agree with, some you might not agree with. But the big one right now, obviously, has been in the headlines a lot, linked with pretty much any team that might have a vacancy, is De Zerbi. I've definitely butchered his name there, but De Zerbi, I made him sound like an animal, but you get it. Is he overrated, underrated? What do we think? Is he doing a job at Brighton?
Overrated.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, why?
So, the reason why he's overrated. So, the teams he's managed, Sassuolo and Shakhtar Donetsk.
Yeah,
Right? So, in the Serie A,
yeah.
he was like not too great, not too bad. He was just banging average in the middle, right? But he created that team.
Yeah.
So Berardi from Juventus and stuff, he created that team. The reason I say he's overrated is because if you look at Brighton before he came, before Potter came, relegation candidates. Like we knew they were going to be a yo-yo club.
Yeah.
Potter came. Potter actually made Brighton into an attractive team, and he's got history behind that with Swansea, with that Östersund, the Swedish club. Potter actually made Brighton what they are today. The only reason why Potter didn't take that next step further was because they couldn't finish. De Zerbi came in and everything was only laid out for him. He's literally, I don't see a difference between his team and a Potter team. The only difference is maybe because Ferguson chipped in 1, 2, 3 goals and Matoma started scoring. But the core, the way they play, I still see Potter's team. That's why I think he's overrated. Because everyone's like, De Zerbi came in. Oh, look, he's changed our play in 6 months. No, your play's always been the same.
So,
You just have to be manager.
you said, so are you saying that, do you agree with, did he adopt Potter's team?
So he's definitely adopted a good team, which Potter had sort of built up. But the difference between what Potter did and then what De Zerbi did when he came in is the goals that they were scoring. They were scoring vastly a lot more goals. They were conceding less. I'm not sure if Potter's teams were they not?
No, when you say conceded less, if you look at Brighton's losses this season, we spoke about this. They're always heavy losses.
Yeah, okay, so I'm going from... So I'm talking about that season when Potter left and then De Zerbi took over and took them to a European position. So this season, my answer, by the way, to this question is I'm not sure if he's overrated or underrated because I've only seen him, if I'm being totally honest, I've only seen him in the Prem. And first season, yeah, he done well. But then this season, it hasn't looked good. And he's had injuries.
Well, you say that, he's sitting at a 50%.
He's sitting top of the league, yeah.
He's sitting at a 50% win record. The best Potter ever got was 32%.
The one thing I'll give De Zerbi's flowers. The one thing I will give is like I think Brighton and Man United, you've both been stung the most with injuries. So you've only managed to, apart from like the last couple of games,
Yeah.
I think you've only managed to field your
Is it 5 times?
same 11 like 3 times. Everyone's on like double digits. You guys are only managed 3 times because of injuries. So I'll give him that. But to say like, could you see a De Zerbi come into Man United now and get him rocking like Brighton?
So
I know it's like different. Like
another question then, Josh. Obviously, he plays high pressing, high possession football. That is his thing.
Yeah.
Right. So he averages 61% possession in most games. So the games where he gets peppered and he doesn't do that well, the possession's not there. So is that the team's not well that he's not a good manager, or is it just that the manager who's playing against him has figured out how to play against that?
I think that's a difficult question. I feel like because he is a manager that loves to adopt playing out from the back and obviously retaining the ball, keeping the ball, not forcing play all the time. I feel like because he's that type of a manager, I feel like a lot of teams, when they do have the ball and they are attacking quite a lot, they'll just kind of sit off back and just look to counter-attack him. I think it was it last season, Everton beaten like, 4-0, 4-1? They've been beat this season, I think maybe 5-1. And they've had some, like you said before, they've had some really big defeats. But if you was to ask me the question of overrated, underrated,
That is the question.
I-
Frankly, that is what we're asking.
Underrated or
That's
overrated?
exactly why
That's
I asked you
exactly
at the
what we
beginning.
asked.
By that says France.
I'm not going to spend too much time rambling, but I'd probably share the same answer as him. I'd say overrated.
Okay.
You know what? I've changed. Sorry, I'm gonna say I've changed my answer based on the stats that you've just given me. He's underrated.
I've went underrated.
Yeah.
I looked at those stats and thought, like, to do that with a Brighton has to be underrated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fair enough. A lot of it is to do with also the recruitment that Brighton have in.
Yeah.
Like Brighton are really good in terms of like building an infrastructure around like creating a football team. So it's not just a manager, it's like recruitment.
They've spent
it's coaches.
93 million and made 167.
Yeah. Another reason
mental.
why I'm saying he's overrated as well is because, yes, we're going to use the Potter example again. The way Brighton play, Potter was at Swansea before the Championship. Potter had Swansea play like that as well. De Zerbi, I'm not sure how much you've seen his other teams. He has not had his teams play like that. He's literally just just plagiarize Potter and just be like, let's just tweak it a little bit. Boom. That's
Oh.
like you gave him a fresh blank canvas. Let's see what he can do.
If you look at the bigger teams as well, if he goes to a Man City or Man United or an Arsenal or a Liverpool or someone like that, you've also got expectation from the fan base. You've got expectation on the size of the club. You've got, if he was to come to United, an even bigger job than the Brighton job.
100%.
So in the terms of overrated, underrated, I feel like he's overrated in the sense of, I feel like there wouldn't be too much difference, and this might be a controversial comment, but I don't think there'd be too much difference with the Ten Hag and De Zerbi, because in the sense of like, obviously De Zerbi at Brighton's not got much pressure on him, rather.
He's got a structure though. That's the thing. So Ten Hag has to like manage everything.
Yeah, exactly. Because like in terms of off
Has
the
his
pitch,
consistency not brought pressure? Did Brighton not expect to be towards those European spots now, based on the back of how Potter, based on the back of how De Zerbi has played?
is this their first season in Europe? Or
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
the
yeah.
first,
first
yeah.
season in Europe.
Wait, yeah, go on.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
What was that question? Say it again.
Has the expectation from Brighton fans not raised to the point, because they're now in Europe and they're currently battling, albeit not as well as maybe they did last season, currently battling for European spots. So is there an expectation there now? You're
wouldn't
saying
say-
there wasn't as much pressure.
I wouldn't say expectation, but I'd say that it all depends on how they do. Because I'm sure did they win the group? They come second.
So I think the top
Finish
group.
first,
Yeah, so I'd assume it would come off the back of how they do for the rest of this tournament, and obviously the latter end of the season. But I'd say, yeah, he's moving them in the right direction. But like what Erik said, is it led from Graham Potter, or is it led from De Zerbi, or is it led from
Led
Potter?
from Graham Potter, led from Graham Potter. Definitely not De Zerbi. Okay, well, another manager that's obviously going to get the same kind of scrutiny, I guess, although in a slightly different position, is Eddie Howe, obviously at Newcastle. What are we thinking here? Because that's a harder one to judge,
That's
because he's got a lot
overrated.
bigger
Straight
finances
overrated.
than De Zerbi does.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So, what, Amar, you were
Overrated.
quite confident in your
Overrated.
answer.
overrated.
Yeah,
Overrated.
overrated.
Okay, why?
Capital O, overrated.
Okay.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
well,
not sure if it's a capital O.
No, it's not a capital O. I love you, Eddie.
Right.
I don't know if he's watching.
it's not going to give you sponsorships, right?
So obviously, Newcastle's owners ridiculously rich,
Yeah.
and I know that Newcastle have to fall under FFP.
Yeah.
Not sure if they have. You know, a lot of teams are getting caught out now, so we'll see, because they did make some big signing with Isaac.
Yeah, still in
Gumere- Huh?
Well,
Still in the clear.
yeah, and this
Oh
summer,
yeah, because we've talked about. Yeah, we'll bring it up.
well,
but-
and this summer they've spent 130 million and made 38 million. Then the red by 100 million.
bloody hell.
So yeah, I think FFP is going to have a hard time with that one.
Yeah, but the owners have like a little partnership in Saudi, yeah?
Yeah.
Why do you think Maximum went?
yeah, they have, but obviously it's not bringing that much revenue back in at this
Can you
point.
how many in terms of their spending, right?
Right.
Do you have the stats in terms of like where that ranks in terms of other clubs? Because I think Chelsea might be first.
Oh,
Chelsea's
Chelsea are clear.
way beyond.
Chelsea's
Yeah,
clear.
way beyond. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
gone clear.
So I'm thinking too. And now, like the thing is, if Eddie's Howe, if you had asked me this question as soon as last season stopped, I'd have been there like, yeah, he's done very well. You know, he's had 18 months to build a team, got them into top 4, flying. Since then, he's made some additions, right? And Newcastle have been arguably even bigger flops than we have as United, yeah, arguably. Because we're not in terms of like reputation, obviously United, we have a bigger reputation, but in terms of like squad ability, we're quite close, I would say. You might disagree. I would say in terms of squad ability, Newcastle squad and our squad isn't too different.
Oh.
Yeah,
I don't know.
back with the squads.
I don't know if you
yeah.
go.
Oh, no.
And look, they finished last in the Champions League. They're currently what in the league? 8th?
20s.
9th? Where are they in the league?
I think they're 7th or 8th.
They're tied 7th with West Ham right now.
West Ham.
Yeah.
Okay, 7th. Yeah. They obviously won. They won yesterday, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure when was that. What's the last like 5? It's been a horrific. Their recent.
Form has been up and down.
Yeah, yeah.
So, obviously, Josh, you've seen a lot of rebuilds. A lot of rebuilds. Not always successful. I think
a lot
actually,
of
if
rebuilds.
any of them have been
Just so
successful.
the audio picks up, a lot of rebuilds.
But what do you think? Do you think Eddie Howe has done a good job at rebuilding? Is it falling apart?
So I think he's done a great job since he's come in, but I feel like the ship has stopped sailing. I don't think he can take them much further than what he has done, which is, fair play to what he's done, but I think that's it. I think that's where the
That's
the
his
Newcastle energy kind of stops where it is. I feel like they could get definitely better than Eddie Howe. But he's done a fantastic job with what he's done so far.
With
Sit on the
the
fence
so like
there.
you said, with the money they've got,
Yeah.
they're obviously going to attract someone bigger. And the reason why I think he's overrated is two main reasons I want to highlight. Last season, out of the top 6, like the original top 6, how many of the top 6 achieved what they were meant to achieve? So, which is, let's say, top 4 league titles. City won. City won the league. Arsenal finished second. Okay. Liverpool had a poor season. Tottenham were just Tottenham. You guys just got top 4. Okay. You need to
I love how you
need to take
discredit the fact that we actually won a cup and we got to the final of another. Also, better season
Did
than
you
Arsenal.
even turn up for
Carry
the
on.
other one?
Well, that's another topic.
You participated.
Last season, we had a better season.
Your City rivals just made your greatest achievement last season, but you want to come for me? It's cool. Anyway, love, bro. No, but I'm like, say, like, look at Liverpool now this season, and look at all like Tottenham with Ange. There's a style there. If these teams were there last season, could we see Newcastle get as high as they could? Because another thing as well is their home record. Yeah, they were doing bits at home, but away from home, they were trash. They were trash. They relied heavily on the home record. And even at the home, it wasn't like they were smoking teams. They get like the odd freak result against like Tottenham and stuff like that. But it was just like 1-0s or last minute winners. I'm like, all right, cool. This is just, like you said, yeah, we want to high now because we've got a new owner. So everyone's feel good factor. The minute it stops,
You say
I
that.
think Benitez,
They got a result against PSG.
but they finished bottom of the group.
Yeah.
I know, but to say that he's
But they
applied a style or not doing anything like that, like he beat PSG. You don't just go into a game and beat PSG.
PSG Champions League though.
Well, yeah, that's true. They are pretty terrible, but at the same time, it's still a very good side. You can't just turn up and
No,
and
discredit
not
the side. It's a good side. But then I was more impressed when they had Rafa Benitez. Like, they got relegated. He got them straight back into the Prem, and he kept them above float with Mike Ashley, the owner. Didn't have any funds like that. I was like, they would have done a lot more. I'd reckon they would have even taken you guys. What was it? You won on? Was the penalty you guys won on? Was clean?
Is what? Sorry.
When you beat,
League Cup?
when you beat Newcastle, was it clean? Was it?
No, that was a 2-0 win.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
2-0 win.
confident, nice and easy.
Easy win.
That Rafa Benitez side would have taken you all the way to the penalties.
Okay.
Well,
I know it's
don't
a
know
bit of a stretch, but
Yeah.
let's make a decision. So, are we going Eddie Howe, overrated, underrated, Josh?
Overrated.
Okay.
overrated.
Overrated.
Oh, 100% overrated. That's a no.
I think that's the first time we've all agreed.
And it'll be the
perfect.
only time we all agree.
Light work.
Right. Well, it's funny. You also mentioned while you're going on that magnificent rant for us about Eddie Howe, about Ange Postecoglou. Now, he's been in the press a lot recently. He always likes to run his mouth. You know, the feel-good factor disappears when he loses.
Disclaimer: Ange was a former Celtic manager, so obviously this guy hates him.
We don't need to talk about that.
Let's just say
Won a
that.
treble under Celtic.
My man
won a
came
treble,
from a
didn't he?
Yeah, we're not
Top
talking
man,
about
come to
that. Right? We're talking about his Tottenham career. Right, let me get into
Man
this.
said, "What am I doing here, fam?"
Ask me what I think, if he's rated or not. Right, anyway, let's start. Josh, Ange Postecoglou, underrated or overrated?
I think underrated. So if you look at Spurs as a whole, in the sense of where they've been previously, with the whole like Conte situation and bringing managers in, getting rid of managers. Who was the other one now? The Wolves manager, Espirito Santo.
Yeah.
He came in, literally went straight away. In terms of additions as well, they brought in Maddison, they brought in Pedro Porro, brought in a couple of other players, Udoga. They've got the people that they already had in Basuma and Sarr that we thought were pretty much flops in the sense of when they brought them in from Brighton, in Basuma especially. The situation at Spurs now is, yes, they're definitely playing a lot better. There is still that lack of consistency. I mean, they literally just scored right at the death against Brighton. But to answer the question, I'd say underrated. And I do see a bit of a plan and a bit of a project in how he's trying to get that Spurs team playing. So, yeah.
Well, you say that. Tottenham have the same number of clean sheets as Chelsea. So obviously, you're saying that he's getting these players playing well. Is that playing well?
But how many wins?
Well, he's on a 50% win ratio at this point in time. The
They're
exact
fifth in the
same.
league, though, aren't they?
With taking into account the injuries he's had.
He still spent 200 million.
What?
Yeah.
Ange?
In the summer transfers. That's what he spent.
Who's he? No, he hasn't. Who's he got?
He bought Maddison.
Yeah.
He bought Vicario. He bought Van der Ven.
Porro.
Van de Ven.
Porro's only
I don't know
From
how
last
much they
season,
were.
wasn't it?
This is
Forest
the
on
total.
There's no way he's bought 200 M's worth
That's
of
what
players.
it's saying.
Who dug it?
Total on the line.
Yeah.
He was on loan. He was
he on
really
loan
up
as
top
well?
of the thing, yeah. Pora was
And
on
he's
loan to
earned
buy.
100 million back.
Oh yeah,
from
Brennan
sales.
Johnson, 50 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brennan Johnson.
That's because Forest has to do FFP.
Yeah, Brennan Johnson, 50
They're
million.
like, yeah, take him.
So you're talking like those players all equate. So he spent 200. So he has spent money. Do you know what I mean? He has invested in the squad, and everyone's had injuries.
Would you say they are where they deserve to be in the table right now?
I think they're exactly where they should be.
Yeah, I agree.
What's that, fifth?
And I don't think he's taken them any further forward from where I would have expected them to be at the start point anyway.
So even though, like, obviously playing better football doesn't always equate to getting results, would you say they're playing a better style of football than Conte, Espirito Santo, whoever was before that?
But if he's
Mourinho.
failing to keep clean sheets, which is obviously costing him points, is that style of play working? Amar, do you feel that style of play is going to be successful if he can't keep the goals out?
Yes, because again, we forget that with this style of play, like these players are still getting used to the style of play, so that it's not going to be 100% perfect. You'll probably know at when he was at Celtic, he didn't have trouble keeping the goals out. So, you know, it's a transition phase.
I believe
where,
it's like. I believe it's like.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain I have something to do.
But yeah, it's a transition phase, and they'll get used to the way he plays, and again, just clean up those little messes that they're making now. And in terms of he's overrated or underrated, I think he's actually just about rated at the right level.
The game is overrated. Overrated.
No, wait, but hold
must
up.
be the only person that struggles with this
this is-
concept.
why we did it. This is why we
I
did it.
reckon we should add
Nah.
rated at the right level. Rated at the right level.
I want to change.
Oh,
Yeah.
my Lord.
I am
But
the
wait,
game.
hold up. Can't it
Nearly time to go, and he's
I
like,
know.
yeah.
rated at the right level?
Rated
Is he
or
rated
overrated
or
or underrated?
Okay,
Overrated
if
or
I was going to say he's just about underrated.
Okay. Oh my God.
All right, I'll go for underrated. Okay, obviously I'm an Arsenal fan. I don't like any success Tottenham have, but the fact that you could come
That won't
into
be a problem then, mate. There's no
the fact no, even see them happy, it boils my skin. But the fact that you could clearly see a style of play. They've had Conte, they've had Mourinho, they've had Nuno Santos, whatever his name is, and it's all been like. I'd rather like, okay, cool, we ain't keeping clean sheets, but we're getting the dubs. You know what I mean?
Are we going overrated or underrated?
We're going underrated. We're going underrated here. The fact that everyone used to say, even Pep said it, Kane's team. Kane was banging 30, like 25 plus goals for them. Kane's gone. Goals there. The guy's getting Richarlison scoring. Like, okay, it could be a purple patch.
It's man management.
It could be purple patch, but he's getting Richarlison scoring. That's like, it's fair play. You know what I mean? It's underrated for me.
I would say he's also put Maddison a little bit on a new level as well. The way Maddison's
Yeah.
playing now is crazy.
Is Madison just playing in a better team?
Oh,
So like you could say that, and that's like a whole
point.
other
That's a
thing
good
to go
point.
from
Yeah,
from
yeah.
where Leicester is.
Nah, I'm
But
taking Leicester's
Alright.
midfield over Tottenham's.
funny, and then we're talking about
no, but
The Madison-
obviously,
the one
but
that
he's
Madison played at.
okay.
The one
But
that
then
the one Madison played for.
yeah, but then obviously his stats in terms of midfielders and what he's going to be looked at is like providing assists.
Right.
So, yeah.
So obviously we're talking about Ange and Tottenham and being in seventh. So obviously he is rivaled with David Moyes at West Ham. David Moyes has been in quite a few different clubs. He managed you unsuccessfully. Then again,
Thanks for that, mate. Yeah, remember when he managed.
As long as I move to Alex Ferguson, I can just say unsuccessfully. But nonetheless,
Fergie's chosen one as well.
Yeah.
Fergie chose him.
he's going to do a terrible job. Get him in.
Fergie's a great manager, terrible advisor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, pick him.
How about
If he does
Fergie?
pick someone, just
Uncle
pick
Fergie.
completely different.
Anyone else?
Granddad
yeah.
Fergie, just relax. Man.
Yeah.
Enjoy your pension. Enjoy your retirement. Just watch the team.
Just watch the game.
Yeah, I mean,
Get
go
your
play
slippers
golf.
out.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Cool.
Go play golf.
Josh, I can see itching here. So,
Legos
Moyes, are we
site.
going overrated, underrated?
Is this in the current tenure or overall?
Current tenure of where he's at West Ham.
Oh, I'm going
Wow.
to say overrated.
Okay.
Overrated. I feel like if you take what they won last year out of the equation, more often than not, you'd probably be swayed towards the overrated option. I feel like
If you take it, do you say if you take it into consideration what they've won?
Yeah.
If you take it,
They won the
But I thought that was the whole point.
no, I mean I'm talking about if you take that Europa League out of the
Conference League.
yeah, if you take that
If you take a European title out of the equation,
if you take that out of the equation, I feel
if
like
you just ignore silverware, he's not doing that good a job.
well, I'm sure pretty much all West Ham fans want him. Well, not all
Yeah.
West Ham fans, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people want him gone. So
Yeah.
if you're raving about a trophy that you've won, which, yeah, obviously fair play, they managed to win it with the squad that they've got and where they've been over the last kind of 5 to 10 plus years, why would you want him gone if he's just done what you've pretty much been striving for in the sense of trying to win something? Yeah. I feel like it's the same as Eddie Howe. He's pretty much now, after that European Cup, that's it. Like, they brought in Kudus, they got Bowen firing, you know, they've got all these players that they brought in. I feel like now it's more of a, let's see what there is out there to go and get, in the sense of he's been in the Prem for however long it's been. It's been a long time.
Probably.
Okay. Amar, really quickly, overrated, underrated. Why do you think it is?
Yeah, again, I will keep it very brief, but overrated.
Sorry, very brief.
I thought you were going to say,
that's it.
next going to say, just balanced. Just I was like, no,
rated just separately.
Actually, if you take it in, I'm joking. No, overrated, because, yeah, I can actually concur with what Josh said. They've won silverware, and you think, right, let's kick on now. We're going to be in the Europa League. You know, I don't really follow West Ham, so I don't know how they're doing in the Europa League. But in terms of league positioning and what they've invested in, like Paqueta, they've got some class players. Kudo, as you said, Bowen. And then to be getting smashed by like 6-0 against Arsenal, it's like, at home, it's like, what's that about today? And yeah, I feel like Moyes, wherever he's gone, is like he does well for a certain period of time, and then he needs to go, or otherwise the team just starts descending rapidly. Apart from United, because he just done terribly all the way
from the start. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna go overrated real quick. Like you said, if you take off the Conference League, okay, because that's a massive paper over cracks. Because the funny thing is, right, they went on a fairy tale run in that Conference League, but in the league they only finished 6 points above relegation. They were having a poor season.
Yeah, they were.
And Moyes' play is just one way. He's still old school. Like him, Sean Dutch, these guys are old school, right? So he's overrated for me.
Yeah, but what does old school mean?
The talent he's got. Oh, sorry. What I mean by old school, like for example, like teams are like pressing now. He's still we're gonna sit back, compact. When we get the ball, attack. Bowen go 4-4-2. Wingers go. You got Paqueta. You got Kudus. You got Bowen. Like,
I think
you got ballers. You actually got ballers.
He's balling.
Ward-Prowse takes a free kick like a penalty. You got ballers in the team. You've needed a striker for X, Y, like how many years now, and you still can't get it right. Like Antonio just.
Yeah, what is it with West Ham strikers? They just can't.
They just can't. And Sebastian Haller goes to Ajax and that breaks like a Champions League record on a group stage. I'm like, make it make sense. Yeah.
I think, from West Ham and the point that I agree with pretty much all of the things you're saying. I think, he did win the Conference League, which is really good. He's put them in a spot. I think he's made them consistent. Like over the last couple of seasons, I think they finished at 6th, 7th, 14th, and then 8th. They're currently 8th, 7th.
Yeah,
8th or 7th. Like
Then you say that.
So he's built that consistency, but I think that is him at his peak roof. That's it. Yeah. He's not going to get them further, but I don't think a West Ham would go further.
He got Everton to a Champions League spot. I'm saying.
Yeah, that's
done
true.
that. I don't know if he's got that in the bag.
So let's finish this. Josh, overrated, underrated?
Overrated.
Overrated. So that's 4 for overrated. Wow, we're agreeing on quite a few. That's all right, because we're going to go on to Mikel Arteta.
Move on.
Woo! I've waited for this one. Right, okay. I'm going to let you start. Let's get the foolishness out of the way.
Right. Can we pay for another hour, please? Because I'm going to school these boys.
Overrated or underrated?
So, I'm going to say underrated.
For one reason.
For one reason. First of all,
he's my manager.
The amount of stick,
it's my goal.
The amount of stick my manager's getting, it just shows that you guys already rate him highly. First of all, that's what I'm saying. Number 2, we had rivalry with you guys, probably one of the most toxic fan bases in the league. I don't know who was what. I think we were probably just was AFTV. Every loss we had, everyone was looking to make money. The fans hated the club. It got to the point where we were expected to lose so that we could go find Robbie in the car park and start saying, "Oh yeah, Robbie, shout out to me. Yeah, the club sucks."
Shout out to me.
Well, I was like, you think I'm lying? Yeah, we went to Howe. We went to go find it. Yeah,
it was jokes.
So, yeah, the fact that Arteta's like, obviously with this whole rebuild, we have to unite the fans first with the club. In his first ever job as well, bear in mind, he did have his only experience was what, being Pep's cone, like people say cone boy, because he puts out the cones. Yeah, that's the only experience he's had. The fact that he's come to a big club, right, and that's his first proper job. He's reunited the fans. He's given us a style of play, and the fact that okay, cool, we're in a position where we are challengers. Like before, we were getting stupid results. So this West Ham game, if this was a couple of seasons ago, we'd be laughing right now because Arsenal lost 4-0. Yeah. we're not getting pumped as often as we were before. The fact that we can actually beat the top 6. I don't think we've lost a game against top 6 this season. We haven't lost a game against top 6 this season. The fact that we can actually be consistent, we just need him to take us to that next step, which I feel he will do. But obviously, football's about winning now, so not everyone's going to see it that way.
Well,
Underrated.
I think that's a point that you mentioned. Football is about silverware. That is it, ultimately. He's been there for, 4 years now? And he's won 1 FA Cup. The FA Cup, which
He's also won the Community Shield.
yeah, which only means something to the team that wins it.
Yeah.
He's won it twice.
Exactly.
One of the
There we
seasons.
go.
No one cared the first time,
Go.
right?
That
But
rating
don't worry,
like
you know what?
Community Shield still better than
Arteta's
FPL
2
trophy.
peaks
Just
is
like,
Community Shield. Right, but the fact is, like, he's won 1 trophy so far. That's and yeah, you know what? I agree. I think Arsenal have improved. Yeah, I think every season they've gotten a little bit better in the league. However, the one piece of silver he won was an FA Cup, which he won with a squad he inherited from Unai Emery.
Yeah, I was going to make that point.
Yeah, but
He's inherited
everyone
that
always says
from
inherited.
someone else, and since then, having built and influenced his style of play, has the best he's got is second with no silverware to show for it.
First of all, he inherited Emery's team, right? But Emery's team, everyone's like, oh, he inherited his team. This team did nothing. We went on a 22-game winning streak, and we were like 8th.
Yeah, you finished 8th. Then
Yeah, we went on a 22-game without losing a game. It was 8th to 8th. That was it. The players were taking the mick. Aubameyang was coming in whenever he wanted. We had Ozil doing up protest. Well, I love Ozil, but he was doing up protest stuff, and they were just distracting the club. We had Maitland-Niles. We had toxic players, like the way you guys have like Sancho and stuff like that. He had to deal with all of that on top of when we won the FA Cup. Who did we beat to get to the FA Cup? We beat City. We beat Chelsea as well. That's not, you can say, yeah, he took Emery's team. He still had to coach it to get there.
yeah, he's won good games, but has got nothing for it.
Look at the last game Emery played compared to the game Arteta played, to the way Arteta played when he took over. You could clearly see, oh crap, this man's doing something. Even managers such as Mourinho, such as Pep, they've all come out and said, give him time, watch.
Do you think, is it just a matter of time? Is 4 seasons not time? What do you think, Josh?
It's a difficult one because I
I don't think you've had one question you've not thought it's a difficult one. Yeah, that's a difficult one. What's your name? That's a difficult one.
I hate to say this with this shirt on, but I feel like it's going to be a 4-peat. So like, I don't know how long it's going to be until they kind of say, right, we've spent X amount, because I'm sure they're way over the 450, 500 million mark.
Spent a lot. Declan Rice was 100 million himself.
Do you have the start off?
Worth
I don't
every
have the
penny.
stat on that.
Worth every penny.
Well, we'll deal with that later.
I think like what Craig said, I think there should be more expectations on the sense of, okay, last season was great. However, they did finish 5 points behind. Now, this season, I will say, they've beat Liverpool, they've beat Man City. Now they've got to make sure, like today, they beat West Ham 6-0. They've got to make sure that they kick on and they beat them smaller teams, but also make sure they try and stay in the game against your Tottenhams, your Chelseas, your teams like that. So, on the basis of the whole picture, I would say overrated.
I think he has definitely shown his credentials to then beat these teams, but it comes down to the manager to then get the team to the point where they can stay consistent enough to win it. So
One little point, just add to yours.
absolutely not. Amar?
Actually, one little point. Do you know what you said? Obviously, City won the league and stuff like that. Liverpool obviously challenging. We're going against the juggernauts of the Premier League. We're going against teams who have players that have done this before. We had the youngest team last season. No one in our team knows what a trophy looks like. So the fact that
No one
we
in your
got to that
fan
point,
base
it
the
was just
last
there
20 years know what a trophy looks like.
you're worse than Championship, and that'll be another argument. Anyway, your point.
Yeah. All right. As much as I'd like to clown Mikel Arteta and say,
I actually really
overrated,
like him, so I don't.
I actually think he is underrated. And based on a few factors, some that has been covered. But one of the things that haven't been covered is he got Arsenal back into the Champions League after 6 years of being out of the Champions League. Now that's huge in terms of a revenue side. And what you do need revenue in terms of to build teams, like to get the signings like Declan Rice or Timbers or whoever they've signed since being back in the Champions League. And his progression has been 8th, 5th, 2nd, and I would classify as what they did last year as a challenge, even though you bottled it. And I know we disagree on that, but that's another episode.
A whole episode.
That's another whole other episode. They're challenging this season. The signings that they make are actually smart signings that they need. There is a style. Like, they're not doing what, as much as I love my club, we just buy players who are available and be there like, we'll try fit them in. No, Arsenal do actually have like a profile player they're looking for that fit into a system in terms of they're good with their feet, even if they're their fullbacks, so that's why you got Zinchenko. Timbers is good to speak. That's why you're looking at Martinez. We talked about that. You know, one of the things that I would say that would kind of make me change my mind in terms of Mikel Arteta being overrated or underrated, from being underrated to overrated, is if he keeps losing these silly games, like in the let's say Europa League against Sporting.
Yeah, I agreed up.
Silly. By the way, to have it where Man City don't even have to win a game to win the league, you lot flopped against Nottingham Forest. That's shambolic. So if he keeps doing that,
with Arsenal and with
he
Mikel
was
Arteta.
overthinking it like mad.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's overthinking. Just that's the thing.
No.
Arteta's always excuses, no results. That's what it always is. Doesn't have an attacker. Hasn't won silverware, but is doing better.
Don't
Challenging.
do that. No, say it put context into it.
What context do you need? You've not
So
won
last
anything?
season, right?
Yeah.
We've always been saying we needed a striker, but last season somehow Saka stepped up, Odegaard stepped up, Jesus, Martinelli. Apart from PSG, I think we were one of the only top 3 in Europe where we had 4 or more players with 10 plus goals and assists. Okay, we've always said we needed it. That was just paper over cracks. We finished 6 goals behind City. City, who had Haaland, who had a crazy season. This season we did the stats. 1 goal off the. We still need a striker.
Tied on goals.
We went 3 games, 71 shots, and only 1 goal. If that's not screaming attacker, I don't know what is.
But the thing is, you keep saying you need attackers. You've scored the same amount of goals as City.
Doesn't
You're
mean
on
we
the
don't
same
need it.
goal
We're
difference
just
as
getting by.
City aren't sitting.
That's
shouting at
just
their
that's
striker.
Arteta's coaching.
It's
Therefore
the
underrated.
same as Man City, just getting by.
Man City have Alvarez, Haaland.
Yep, they do, and you're on the same goals, and you're shouting you need a striker.
Hold up.
That is-
Still need a striker. They've got game in hand as well.
Couldn't you make the argument though, right? That if Arteta was such a great coach, like what Pep did when he didn't have a striker, change up the system,
Make it work.
get
Who
someone
was-
to
Who was Pep's team? Look at Pep's
No, but
team.
I'm saying
Yeah, no, but look at Pep's team.
So now it's you don't have as
who
good
was
a
in
player.
the Centurions?
what?
The Centurions that won it. Are you on about that
You
season?
want him to list the entire.
No,
full
are you on
squad.
about that season?
No, not even the
Victor.
Centurions. Even the season prior to Haaland joining, that wasn't Centurions. Oh wait, so prior to.
The
Prior
fact,
to seasons, Haaland joined had Jesus.
again, yeah.
But yeah, but he didn't really play. That's why people think the thing is they had a striker, but they weren't even playing with a striker, and they bagged the league.
So we're trying to make someone who's in their first job straight away. Look what Pep's doing.
But you're saying
Do
you
it.
need- you
Then when
need-
Arteta.
You
does-
Hold up. Actually,
You
I just
compared
realised you
him to
said-
Pep.
Huh?
Wait,
You compare. We didn't compare him to
yeah.
Pep. You did.
And one of the things I just heard, you
Arteta's
just said they had Jesus. You have Jesus.
You literally have that.
yeah, yeah.
Injury prone.
Huh?
Injury prone. The amount of injuries he had for us.
Well, he wasn't
compared to
injury prone at City.
Well,
City. Yeah, exactly.
I feel
But they
like
still won it.
we're never all going to agree on
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
I think there's just too many excuses for you to try and use.
No, that's what you're saying. Just say different, right? He's
It's
not,
not
using
different
logic.
at all.
He's not
But
using
anyway,
logic
let's
at
do
all.
it. Josh, overrated or underrated?
Overrated.
Amar.
I'm gonna say underrated.
Okay.
Underrated.
He's overrated. I think if he starts winning things, I'll change my opinion. But nonetheless.
What? Okay. What manager can come into the Arsenal team and do what he did? Go on, tell me.
We have literally
Thank you.
2 minutes left to cover what I want to do. We need to address Erik Ten Hag. That is a full conversation.
Underrated.
Really quickly.
Yo, my go.
I also put underrated. For
Yes,
what he's done.
he is underrated.
Josh, I know you have a lot of passion here, but you got literally 60 seconds. Underrated, overrated.
I think overrated.
My
Wow.
goodness.
My goodness.
My goodness gracious me.
Amar,
Underrated.
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 I think it's just to throw some stats really quickly out there. He's got a 48% win record at United. The only person that is, well, there's 3 managers that have got better than him. There's Moyes was 52, Howe was 52, and Jose Mourinho was 58.3.
Wow. Hey.
I know, Valga. Oh, sorry.
The
I'm
amount-
saying
Wait,
it
is it
quite-
an actor?
I know.
Wow.
My pronunciation of things, right? I'm going to offend a lot of people. Deal with it.
The zebra.
Uh-oh.
Fair.
I want to go home. To win 3 league titles at Ajax, like he's done very well, and I think he's going to continue to do well. And I think Man U are in a place where they are getting better. You actually have players to be excited about now.
Yeah.
I mean, Ajax is a bit of a joke man league, let's be honest.
Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, we're not going to talk about joke man leagues since you're. in
Yeah,
a
we
farmers
say that
league.
though.
Don't
We
mind
say that, but
take
look at
players.
where are Ajax now though? Since
but
Yeah,
look
they've fallen apart.
Yeah.
Look at the
That's
off the
not-
pitch though.
All the
not his
place
job.
dipped.
yeah.
But anyway, okay. Obviously, you guys that are listening can obviously make your decision on whether you feel that you agree with what we've done on rated or underrated, or as Amar puts it, somewhere in the middle.
Perfectly rated.
Yeah.
You know, you can decide if you thought.
Do you know what? Also, put in the chat if you want to see perfectly rated. Yeah, I don't think it would be overrated and underrated. It should be just about rated. As well.
Just right.
Yeah, just right.
And obviously, don't throw any difficult questions at Josh because he's had quite a few tonight, apparently.
It's been a bit difficult.
But yeah, don't forget to like the videos, share it with people, get your opinions on it. Do you think we were right? Do you agree with what we said? And then obviously, we were Speak the Game. Thank you for watching.
Insta, follow the Insta.
Yeah, speak.
There's no
dot
link.
the dot.
I've always wanted to do this where like they put it on the like.
It'll
here.
be somewhere around.
It'll be
Like,
somewhere here.
share, subscribe, anything you want.
Maybe here.
Turn your post notifications on.
Wherever
I've always
you
wanted to
see
say
it.
Wherever
like,
you see
share,
it, just like it, subscribe.
like, share, subscribe. Turn your post notifications on.
Yeah.
We are Speak the Game.
Man
Adios.
United, Man United coming for that top 4, yeah?
Yeah, I love
No,
that.
That's all right. We can edit that out.